If you or someone you know is going through depression, you are not alone. I am Moonwalker Tanya. This is the MJ Innocent podcast, and I have been battling depression on and off ever since 2008. Depression is real. It's brutal. It doesn't show mercy. And sometimes even the strongest people can battle depression. I believe Michael suffered from depression himself. It is true that he had rhinoceros skin. But the 05 trial, I believe, pierced it. And he was devastated. He wondered who could he trust. He just wanted to be left alone. I can relate. So, I've had people in my life as well that I trusted, but I was too trusting, and it backfired on me at times. A lot of those people are no longer in my life. Some of them were my choice, some were their choice. But there was one person who I never thought would hurt me until he did. It was my high school boyfriend. I was his first girlfriend, and we were together for almost 3.5 years. We were 2 weeks short of it being 3.5 years. His father told him that you shouldn't marry the first girl that you date. And my heart shattered when he told me that, because I was afraid he was going to dump me. But he told me that that would be the first time he wouldn't listen to his father. Well, that was a lie. Pretty much all he did was lie to me. He abused me emotionally, mentally, and a few times physically. I almost died 4 times while I was with him. I still didn't leave, stupidly. And when he broke up with me, he basically, not only did he shatter my heart, but he shattered my dreams without a care in the world. He was smiling. He was smiling at me when he was breaking up with me. And then when he found out that I was in the hospital on suicide watch, he sent me one of the worst emails you could ever imagine. And he knew where I was, and guess what he wrote in the email? I'm not going to say the entire thing because I don't have it completely memorized anymore, but he said I was overreacting and he was already interested in others. He wrote that email and sent it to me so that would be the first thing I would see when I came home from the hospital. And I'll never forget when he said, quote, "Your mother wanted me to stop hurting you. Well, now that I broke up with you, I can't." I worked so hard to try to help him, to get that rust off his heart. Those were his words, not mine. He used to say he had a heart of rust, which I believe. And getting that rust off his heart was not easy. It was easier for the iceberg to carve through the Titanic. And I know what Michael had to go through when he tried to help people and all they did was backstab him. I don't know how he dealt with it as much as it happened to him. Not to mention the fact that the entire world knew about it. I can't even imagine. And that's why Michael is so important to me, because Michael was the one who put my heart back together. But I was so afraid, because having my heart shattered like that, when they say that love hurts, believe me, if you've never had your heart broken before, let me describe how it felt to me. It feels like your heart is literally exploding into billions of pieces, and you feel like your chest is full of fire and smoke, and your body's hurting. You can't breathe. You even feel like you're about to black out. And so, for 14 years, my heart was on lockdown. Unfortunately, my heart has been shattered again. And I have decided to put my heart back down on lockdown, because I can't go through this again. I can't. The difference is, at least the second time I wasn't led on, at least, but it still hurt. I had 10 panic attacks in only 7 days. I was in bed most of that week. I was crying so much, I was surprised I was still able to cry. My mom kept asking me what was wrong, because she knew something was wrong, but I just kept telling her that I was fine when I wasn't. Because my family is going through some things right now, and so I didn't want to stress her out more than she already is. And plus, she would probably think it was silly anyway. Well, and what I mean by that is, I'm not saying that she wouldn't care, because that's not true. I'm just saying that if she... I don't know how to explain it. Well, let me put it to you this way. My mom thinks it's a little silly that I love Michael when I never met him. So I just don't, I don't know. And I just remember I saw Michael in a dream a few nights ago, and I was crying, and he, like, he just came over and hugged me, and he said, "I'll put your heart back together again. I've done it before." And I just remember saying to Michael, I said, I mean, I know I don't look like Jessica Simpson, but I mean, all I want is love. I mean, is that so hard to ask? And he said, "I know the feeling." And I even told Michael that there was a part of me that wanted to be with him. And he said, "It's not time yet." And I'm pretty sure you guys are wondering if I ever called my doctor about this, and the answer is no, for the obvious reason. Because she would ask me those depression questions again, and if I answered them truthfully, she would probably put me in the hospital again, and that's not going to do any good for me. It's only going to be 72 hours of wasted money and caffeine hangovers. Because that's what happened last time. So I said the only thing I can do is put my heart on lockdown, and I don't know. I mean, there is kind of another guy that I had feelings for, but I'm not going to tell him. Because I can't go through this again. And two, I'm pretty sure he doesn't even have those feelings for me anyway. So I'm not going to set myself up for getting hurt again. I can't. And my friends, they would always tell me that, well, that they wish that they had what I have, but I said, I wish I had what you have. But that's why Michael is so important to me, because even though I've only met him in my dreams, he's been there for me, and whether it's in a dream or in his short films or through his music, he's always been there. And that's why, I'm so thankful that Michael was the person he was, and not the person the media was trying to portray him as. And so, Michael, If I never fall in love again, which I probably won't, then I just want you to know that my heart belongs to you. Because I know you won't break it. And as far as when Michael went through, I would have been there for him. If he needed someone to talk to, he could have talked to me all day. I would have been there for him. I would be very protective of him. And that's why I'm so glad that I can defend him in the best way possible. I really wish he was still here with us. Yeah, it's been kind of tough for me, but unfortunately when it comes to depression, you can only take it one day at a time, and I know that sounds very annoying. Believe me, it annoys me as well. But unfortunately, that is true. There are days when you're fine, and then there are other days where you could be okay like for 5 minutes, and then like literally 1 minute later you're in tears. Yeah, so I mean, if Michael was strong enough to survive what he went through, then there are times when I try to remind myself that I have to be strong too, even though it has been getting harder and harder to do it over the years. Yeah, so and helping others is what I love to do. I try to do it not just because I'm that kind of a person, but I also feel like it weakens the depression when I do that. Because, I mean, even I'm surprised that I'm able to do this. But sometimes, no matter how upset I am about something, if I see someone else going through something, like I'm instantly, well, maybe not instantly, but almost instantly, I'm able to push aside whatever's bothering me to help that person. And I do believe Michael was that kind of person as well. And I think that's why I can, to a certain point, understand and relate to what he went through, but not nearly the same kind of things, obviously. I mean, when Michael said that he would see kids playing at the playground next to the studio and he wanted to play with them, but he couldn't because he had to go into the studio. Well, when I was in school and we had to take gym class, most of the time I had to sit on the bleachers because of my disability. And all I wanted to do was participate. But there were many times when I couldn't, and I hated it. There were times, even in middle school, when I would bring my math homework to gym class. I just felt like it was a waste. But I've learned so much from Michael, and I would say that if you are depressed, I do have some advice for you. I would say definitely have some people that you can talk to. I do have some friends that I know personally that I can talk to. But surprisingly, I've actually been reaching out to fellow MJ fans for support, actually more. Which I guess, that's not a bad thing. Obviously, I know them well enough in order to reach out to them. I would say just make sure that it's someone that you trust, someone who, will listen and be open-minded to what's bothering you. And if you do know someone who is depressed, but you don't know, what it's like to be depressed, the advice I have is to please be patient, because depression bothers us just as much as it bothers you. Because depression, it is hard to deal with. And nobody wants to be depressed. And maybe going to therapy together, if your boyfriend or girlfriend is depressed and you don't know what it's like, maybe going to therapy together might help. I would just say that if your partner needs you to be able to listen and be there for them and give support, I would say just listen to what they have to say and do your best. And also, if you don't think you can provide that support, then it would be best to go to therapy. And of course, I went to therapy, and of course, it wasn't my choice. It was actually pushed on me. And that was another thing. I felt like I went to therapy at the wrong time back then, because after I left the hospital, they said that I had to go to therapy when I wasn't ready to, when I wasn't ready to, forget about what happened, Not that I'm probably ever going to be able to forget it. And I'm pretty sure Michael had the same thoughts of, why are these people doing this to me? I remember Michael said that to his brother Jermaine during the '05 trial. And I asked my therapist the same thing about my ex. And I think the answer to both situations is the same. And the sad truth is, the reason why they did this is because they're not sorry. They don't regret it. They don't feel bad about it. And unfortunately, there are people like that in this world. And it breaks my heart because, I mean, why do people have to be like that? But all I can say is, to all of my subscribers, all my viewers, I really do appreciate your support. And I do apologize if I scared anybody with what I wrote on the community tab a few weeks ago. I mean, sometimes when I'm an emotional wreck, like, it's what happens, I guess. But I'm just doing the best I can to stay strong. And as far as giving up on love, I don't want to, but I might have to. Because, like I said, I can't go through it again. And I've been rejected in so many different ways. I even went to a different college. Nothing happened. I tried to find someone through work. Nothing happened. I even tried online dating. A lot of guys liked my profile until they asked for a picture. And every time when I posted a picture of myself on my profile, every single guy stopped messaging me. Every time. So, yeah. But there is one thing I do want to say, because my ex tried to really destroy me with something specific he said. He tried to tell me that if a guy ever said that he loved me, he said, don't believe him because you're unlovable. Well, I may not look like Jessica Simpson, but I know I'm more lovable than my ex is. I don't know why I loved him, but he was pretending to be someone he wasn't, and he showed his true colors, which is the person I described in this video. Because he wasn't always like that. He was pretending to actually be a good person. I shouldn't say most. I would say about, maybe 60-70% of the time. Maybe I'm being too generous. But definitely towards the end of our relationship is when he was being himself, like cold, harsh, heartless. And I can pretty much guarantee you guys that if my ex didn't leave, I probably wouldn't be talking to you guys right now. I really do believe that. And that's the biggest fear that I have, because I know he had another girlfriend after me, but they broke up as well. And in case if my ex ever does listen to this, which I highly doubt, because he kicked me out of his life 1 month after we broke up, just so you know, someone who was friends with both of us told me this information, just so you know. And one other thing I want to say, because I know some people consider flirting cheating and some people don't. I personally do consider it cheating. My ex was flirting with other girls even when I was standing right next to him and I was squeezing his hand as tightly as I could. And he tried to deny it even though I could see the flirting face on his face. And I told him, I said some harsh things to him through email after we broke up, and I don't regret it. I refuse to apologize. I told him that if those girls ever cheated on him, that I would not feel sorry for him. And that made him mad. He said I should feel bad for him. No. Because the kind of girls he was flirting with, let's just say they're not the kind of girls that would be loyal to somebody, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, it's been tough. I think the hardest part about it is because I haven't been with anybody since. I don't know what a good relationship is like. And sometimes I even wonder if Michael ever went to therapy to help with his depression, but I don't know if we'll ever know that. But at least after the trial, he tried to focus on being with his children. But I do believe his heart was truly broken and he was alone. And he wanted to be able to trust people, but when you've been hurt so many times, it makes it harder. And sometimes it is a good thing because it would prevent other people who would possibly hurt you, they wouldn't be able to do it. But at the same time, it could also possibly push away people who wouldn't hurt you, and that's the hardest part. Sometimes you wonder, who can you trust? I've been there. And I'm sure a lot of you have been there too. And the truth is, I was thinking about writing a tell-all book about what my ex did to me, but I pulled the plug on it years ago. Because as much as I hate to say this, if a psychopath read my book and something happened to my ex, then I would feel bad. So, I just regret not doing something about it. And I really hope someone doesn't end up getting hurt by him because I didn't do anything to stop him. That's my biggest fear. But he knows how to manipulate people. And as long as, once he realizes that he can't control you anymore, you're nothing to him. So, all I can say is, if anyone knows my ex personally, then the only thing I can say is, watch your back. And that's the same advice that I would give to anyone who knows the Arvizos or Wade and James or their families, Adrian McManus. The list goes on. Those are people you don't want to know. And to my subscribers, if, obviously I'm not a therapist, but, there have been times where my subscribers would tell me things in the comments and I would always try to give advice, and that's what I love to do. And so if you guys ever need someone to talk to, obviously I'm not therapy, so don't treat me like therapy, but I'll always be here for you guys. And I love you. And yeah, I do apologize. I know this video was very emotional, but sometimes talking about what's bothering you can help. It might not cure the problem, but it can help. And plus, I wanted to make sure that I brought Michael into the situation, obviously. Because, like I said, I don't know how he dealt with it. Like, he was so strong and so brave. And believe me, what my ex did to me, yeah, that was bad, but, there were so many other things that I went through that sometimes even I wonder how I'm still as strong as I am. I can definitely understand why I'm depressed because of those things. But I guess my heart is just so strong that it refuses to quit. And there are times when I do have rhinoceros skin, but sometimes, yeah. Alright, so I just wanted to share that with you guys, and yeah, I'm gonna be okay, I think. I'm just trying to take it day by day, and I've got some great ideas. There was even one of Michael's songs that I think would be a really good song to represent people with disabilities. So I'm going to be making a video about that soon. So yeah, please stay tuned. And if you guys have any suggestions for videos that you would like me to do, please let me know. All right, I will see you in the comments.